Hello, my name is Ethan, and welcome back to another episode of Path of Exile Scourge League 3.16. In this episode, we're going through the 3.16 Animate Guardian. And you may wonder, Ethan, how could you already know what you're going to do for your Animate Guardian for 3.16? Well, they gave us the patch notes early, kind of. So they told us specific stuff like changing the Fortify mechanic so its effect is based on your melee damage. Wait, what about the Kingmaker? Blind now causes the targets to have 20% less accuracy rating and evasion rating. I was using the nearby enemies are blinded chestplate, which was like Flesh and Stone on blind aura without the 35% mana reserve, if you think about it. And it was just a body armor on my Animate Guardian that could also have life and reses and chaos res and all this extra stuff. It was really sick. So that's also a lot weaker now. And it kind of requires evasion. Okay, here we go. Let's dig into our new our updated Animate Guardian. We're going to start it off with the big, crazy one that no one's ever used, that blows me away that no one has ever mentioned this. This came out in 3.12. Heist League. Expedition's End makes you think this came from Expedition, but actually it came from Heist League. So I'm starting it off with one of the coolest things I found. I found a lot of cool stuff. Also, stay till the end to see the new teasers for 3.16. There's some leak shit, kind of like the Blight, but I haven't shown it yet, so I'll save it till the end of this video. Won't be too long, don't worry. I'll go through this for you guys. Okay, so Body Armor, Expedition's End. What does it do? Put this on your Animate Guardian. All of his damage with hits can freeze. What? Freeze chilled enemies as though dealing 50 to 100% more damage. Doesn't really matter, but you can freeze chilled enemies. Okay, and then all nearby enemies are chilled. So this is like Skitterbots chill without the mana reserve again. It's kind of like the blind. This is why it's so cool. It's kind of like the blind Flesh and Stone, but they nerfed blind and we still have chill. So I thought this was like at the top of the cool. I hope you guys enjoy this. Okay, so we might try that. It depends on the price, especially after this video and telling everyone about it. It was not expensive before this. No one has ever used it for an Animate Guardian. Okay, so then there's also the Spore Guard. He can make fungal ground. So it says you have fungal ground around you while stationary. Sometimes he stands stationary to attack a target. So a boss. And maybe like a monster, a rare. Allies on your fungal ground gain 10% of non-chaos damage as extra chaos. So you could use this in a physical or elemental and to chaos build. All of them work, right? As long as you have physical or elemental, anything not chaos, and you get extra chaos on the enemies. And then the enemies on your fungal ground deal 10% less damage. So this could also be defensive if you got a lot of fungal ground. And then it also says enemies on fungal ground you kill explode, dealing 5% of their life as chaos. So the overall, I don't think this is very consistent for the Animate Guardian. It's not consistent enough probably, but it is really cool that it's out there as all of this synergy of like allies and enemies, and this would work technically, but I don't think it's fundamental, like baseline. I don't think it's that good or consistent, but the nearby enemies are chilled is really cool. We got some more chest plates. So this one, I don't think anyone has ever done this for an Animate Guardian. So you could do technically a Doriani's prototype, and you could make it deal no lightning damage. Armor applies to lightning damage taken from hits. Lightning res does not affect lightning damage, and nearby enemies have lightning res equal to yours. So couldn't you make your Animate Guardian have like... I feel like there's a way to get your Animate Guardian to have less res, and then you could maybe synergize, maybe not, maybe that one's just, I threw it in there just because of the nearby enemies and the fact that it actually has like an aura effect for an Animate Guardian is kind of cool. And Ambu's charge is technically an endurance charge generation, but it only is off of crit strikes, which is really inconsistent and feels absolutely terrible. So I don't actually recommend this. This is an honorable mention, because if I didn't mention it, then people will be like, what about Ambu's charge? I gotta mention it, but don't use this. Do not use this. It's pretty fucking useless. The replica one at least gives endurance charges when you take a hit, but it makes you lose 2% of life per second if you've been hit recently, which is worse. So overall, don't use Ambu's charge. I didn't forget the Garb of the Ephemeral. What are you guys talking about? Gain a Divine Charge on hit. What's a Divine Charge? You can get up to 10. Okay. You gain Divinity for 10 seconds on reaching maximum Divine Charges. What's Divinity? Divinity. You are larger, deal more elemental damage. Both are useless. Take less elemental damage and are immune to curses. What? What? 20% less elemental damage taken and immune to curses sounds pretty good. If you could keep this always up. So if he just attacks 10 times a second, you know, he'd get 10 maximum divine charges a second. But technically you could actually gain this for 10 seconds, so you just have to hit 1 time a second. So I think he actually does have divinity most of the time in our builds in the past. Whenever we've used this, he would go into like god mode. But then the main reasons we would use this in the past isn't for the divinity, because this is just his survivability, which we didn't really have an issue with. It was for these two, which is our survivability and our minions. So nearby allies' action speed cannot be modified to below base value. This one is so the enemy like curses temp chains don't work on us, and maybe chill doesn't work on us, where nearby enemies cannot deal critical strikes. Yeah, just like it says. It's similar, you know, you could go chill the enemy, right? You could get nearby enemies are chilled, or they just can't deal crits. Yeah, that's pretty good. That's Brass Dome. Goddamn. Okay, let's continue. I'm glad I included the Garb of the Ephemeral. That's the God chestplate, honestly, at this point. Expeditions End might be a budget, but me showing it might ruin it. And then, yeah, there's like rare options you could go for, but they're just ruined because of the blind option. Nearby enemies are blinded. Can we get 100 likes on this video for all the hard work? Thank you so much. Here we have weapons. So the Kingmaker, I think this is getting nerfed in 3.16 because of the Fortify for casters change they want to make, changing Fortify strength to be based on melee hit damage, requiring decent hit damage and not hitting for nothing. So in the past it was Fortify, culling, crit multi. We'll see if the Fortify stays the same and if it's still the best, because, well, I go through every single weapon option and shield option, and so we can actually compare even with a Fortify change, like if these are better or worse. So Sign of the Sin Eater, that's this one. Enemies inflict elemental ailments on you instead of nearby allies. So you know how we had the nearby enemies can't crit? Well, what about them not being able to inflict elemental ailments on you? And only the AG. So they can ignite them, whatever, shock, freeze the AG, but not you. Wow! Or your minions. This is crazy. Sign of the Sin Eater sounds really strong. Yeah. Especially if the Kingmaker gets nerfed. Because it's not like a fight against the current Kingmaker. It might be a nerfed version. Which then this is actually pretty strong if we don't have elemental ailment immunity and our minions. Ulnuddle Kiss. That's this axe up here. 25% chance to curse enemies with vulnerability on hit with 45% increased effect. So we'll have to come back to this in a second also, because this will get even better. But being able to curse with the weapon potentially opens up a glove. Yeah. But all the glove stuff I tried. So what I was going to say, but I didn't include it actually, but I'll mention it for you guys, is I thought of Tomb Fist. Murderous Eye Jewel, easy intimidate, and then you get the vuln somewhere else. But apparently you can't put a jewel. Well, you can put jewels in the Tomb Fist, but it doesn't actually count the jewels in an Animate Guardian, because otherwise you would be able to equip your Animate Guardian with like jewels and the stats would be affected, and that would be insane. And then imagine also including the gems, like they don't count either. So basically the plan I had is less good, because yeah, it was get vuln here so I could open up the glove, so I could get Tomb Fist, so I could get intimidate on the glove. But whatever. Hunter Influence or a delve weapon can get chance to intimidate on hit. So instead of changing the vulnerability spot, let's just change the weapon. So instead of Fortify, crit multi, all this, we go intimidate, and maybe we do a double influence, so it's Hunter, Warlord, Elder, and you can get Culling Strike. So it's kind of like a Kingmaker with Intimidate. You lose the Fortify, you lose the crit multi, but It's something at least, right? And then you would still get your vulnerability from your glove, just like normal in the past. Weapons continued. It's like the body armors. I got a bunch of them. It's really fun. So Singularity, this is a cool one-handed weapon. Nearby enemies are hindered with 25% reduced move speed. So I'm pretty sure hinder's normally 30, but this one specifically is 25. So just know that it's less good than a normal hinder, but that's really cool. Because we don't have hinder in a physical build. You need a melee attack, because you need a spell to apply hinder with abyss jewels. We can get hinder with like aspect of the avian, but again, aspect of the spider. This is comparing an aura with a mana reserve to an animate guardian that doesn't reserve any mana. It's kind of ridiculous if you think about it. It's the flesh and stone blind. It's this aspect of the spider hinder, but this aspect of the spider also increases the damage. This doesn't increase damage. So let's continue. Replica in Innsbury Edge can inflict a wither for 2 seconds on hit with this weapon. Insanity hidden. And so wither stacks, and for every wither stack, it can make the enemy take 6% increased chaos damage taken. So they can stack up to 15 times. So this could make the enemy take up to 90% increased chaos damage, which is for chaos, which is potentially 90% more damage. It's additional to other increased damage, so it's not a more on all the damage. It's only a more to everything but the increased damage taken. Yeah, it's really strong for chaos builds. There's other ways to apply Wither, but technically automating it with the Animate Guardian I thought was really cool. This as an option out there is neat. And it's definitely worth mentioning. So then we have the Eclipse Solaris, this wand over here. It says nearby enemies are blinded. So kind of like the chest plate, the body armor. We could have also went a wand, one-handed, and then went a shield or another weapon, another wand, for example. Got the nearby enemies are blinded for here. It's so cheap, if you think about it. It's just it's fighting a Kingmaker, which is why it's been so hard to use anything else. There's so many cool things, but it's fighting a Kingmaker. So this depends on what they do to the Fortify, like I'm saying, but there's a lot of cool options, because you can see that it's like ticking boxes. Do we have this? Do we have this? We just need one source of this, right? Somewhere in our build, and we have a few sources, and when we add an Animate Guardian as an option, it's really cool. So then we also have the Demigod's Authority. I won this. Actually, I have one from those events at the end of Heist League when they did those Delve event, Endless Delve, and the I don't remember the name of the other two things. Flashback and whatever. We got this. You and nearby allies have 30% increased item rarity, so it's like a one-handed weapon, and you could actually put this on your Animate Guardian for free item rarity at the beginning of a league for getting your uniques, especially SSF. Kind of broken. Shields. Oh my god, you could combo these one-handed, well, these are two-handeds mostly, but these one-handeds, or the one-handed Chance to Intimidate, or the one-hand Culling Strike, you could synergize with shields. So Esh's Visage makes it so chaos damage does not bypass energy shields, so you could actually make your Animate Guardian kind of low life. No, not on low life, sorry. My bad. Okay, the main part of why I pulled out this shield wasn't that. It was reflex shocks applied to you to all nearby enemies. What? Wait, this could be like a Skitterbot shock as well? No way. What is this, dude? Wait, so the chest plate can chill, and the weapon can the shield can shock, and the weapon can intimidate? Ooh, this is pretty cool. Yep. You could even blind still. Like, blind still sounds decent, but it's just not as good. It's nerfed by like 2.5 times. Victorio's Charity. 5% chance. So this is the replica one. It has a 5% chance to grant an endurance charge to nearby allies on hit. This is kind of a meme because 20 attacks per second to get 1 charge in a second. And then you have to get 3. It's pretty cool that it's there. That's like people have done that as like their character buffing the minions, but I just thought, well, technically you could do this on an Animate Guardian, and that's kind of cool. I don't think it's that good. What the best weapons here are probably are potentially the influenced weapons with Intimidate or Culling, and the Sign of the Sin Eater for the inflict elemental ailments on the Animate Guardian instead of us. That sounds really cool if Kingmaker's dead, and the rest of these are neat options, but definitely the other ones. For helmet, we have the normal Elder Bone helmet, item level 85 plus. Nearby enemies take 9% increased physical damage, and you can Maven Orbit to 12%. Bonus mods that you would go for, besides this is the main mod, obviously, the influence mod that you're going for. You can go for life. You can craft life also. Resistance, so elemental resist, chaos res. You could craft it to hybrid. June craft, 15%. Regen, life regen. Armor, physical damage reduction, because of those new stats. I don't know where they are exactly, but on some of the gear, helmet, body armor, etc., shield maybe, you could get physical damage reduction, higher percent, like 8% now, so I wanted to mention it. Mask of the Tribunal change in 3.16. Nearby allies have 1% chance to block attack damage per 100 strength you have. This could be interesting in a strength stacking Baron zombie build. This used to be 6% increased global defenses or something, which was cool, and they buffed defenses by 2 times, so this would have been broken probably, because our armor and our evasion and ES, yeah, it would have been really powerful, but now it's just block. But block, we'll see. They said they buffed areas of block, so this is worse than... it's bad timing for this, right? This would have been better in a time when we had less block. And if this was block spell damage, it would have been better than block attack damage also. But we'll see. Just, again, mention it. It was changed, so throw it in here. And it was an old thing that people did. So then the new thing and the combination of synergy, combining this with the strength stacking Baron zombie build makes sense because of the giving half the strength to your Baron, your AG. So let's say you had 1,000, you get 500. This is 5% block. Not that great, but when it was 30% defenses, sounds decent with the new defense buff because it's twice as good, so it's 60% kind of. Okay, Eye of Malice. This was for elemental. 25% chance to inflict cold exposure on hit, 25% chance to inflict a fire exposure on hit, and then nearby enemies have increased fire and cold res. So the cold exposure and fire exposure, the whole concept is trying to lower the elemental resistance of the opponent to negative, and then making the elemental resistance of the opponent increased, which is a negative. So you multiply a negative, and so it stays negative, but it's bigger. And so they have even more negative resistance, and that's what you're trying to do with this. We don't use that because we go physical, but it's a cool elemental option when comparing against your Elder Bone Helm, because they're kind of similar. This is affecting the specific percentage of the elemental res, where this is a flat percent increase, which is just like a flat more additional, where this could actually be multiplicative broken, I think, is the way to look at it. Because, yeah, you could stack a bunch of negative, in the past, negative resistance and then multiply it, which sounds insane. Yulfban's Trickery. This one's a meme. It had another effect that doesn't work, but I thought it would work. 20% chance to curse non-cursed enemies with a random hex on hit. Lul, all the curses. I thought it was funny, so I included it. But also it had an effect where it could apply shock. It leaves shock ground on the ground or something, but it doesn't work on the Animate Guardian, so it's irrelevant. Don't worry. But it did something about giving you shocked ground, which was really cool. Gloves. Corrupted, looking for vulnerability, curse on hit. Glove is always curse. You could go defensive curses, enfeeble, and temp chains if you wanted, but I go vulnerability. Main stats on the rare or unique glove recommended is 21+% chaos resistance, 70+ life, with the corruption for the curse on hit of vulnerability. And then some decent unique gloves that get corrupted a lot and are usually cheap, and especially at the start of a season. The Embomber and Replica Volker's Guidance. That one might be a little bit expensive because of the heist that's behind Replica Blueprints, but the Embomber's cheap. I see them all the time, especially when I played SSF. I was corrupting them a few a day. Boots. You could go early Victorious Flight, 10% increased move speed for you and your nearby allies. That's a pretty nice boost, right? And then later, you could go for this rare boot with 30% move speed, 31 chaos res, 60 to 70 life, crafting hybrid chaos from June Unveiling, or crafting 70 life and getting some random extra suffixes when crafting or from trade, like extra resistances. Easy boot. Nothing too crazy in the boots. I went through a lot of shit. And then here's some important stats. So I thought about including this at the beginning, but I thought that most people know this, and I thought it was boring, so I would include it later, but I'll go through it fast for the people who already know it. But for the people who don't, these are the Animate Guardian stats with resistances that he starts with, as you see here. 40 of each elemental resistance and 20 chaos res. On the passive skill tree, you have minion resistance, so chaos and elemental. With the node sacrifice, this one, the Wheel of Indomitable Army, all of this, and the Wheel of Grave Intentions, this whole thing. After taking those nodes, the resistance of our Animate Guardian is this. 75, 75, 75, 58. And then we're plus 16 on the elements. Therefore, we could cap the chaos resistance in as little as 17 chaos resistance, and the only reason to get more elemental resistance is for the curse elemental weakness, so you can get another 20% elemental resistance to be safe. And why are we scared of this? Because if your Animate Guardian, let's say, lost 36 chaos, 36 elemental resistance, right? And it went to negative, like it lost 20, so it went to 55. Because of elemental weakness. I don't think it can be that strong, but let's say that it can, right? This is just to be safe. If you were missing 20, so instead of taking 25% of the damage, you're taking 45%. It's almost double damage. Like it may not seem like it, but it is. It's insane what just a little bit of missing, because yeah, if you got 25 missing when you only had 25 missing total, and when you're at 75 from the cap, like from 100, then getting another 25, you double. It's crazy. It's really insane. So you want to, this would kill your Animate Guardian if it got elemental weakness and then it got hit by a lot of elemental damage. And so you want it specifically to be safe. Usually I don't care about my personal self about being safe to elemental weakness, because I can be, I don't lose all my gear on death. I'm not hardcore, but my Animate Guardian is. That's a good way to put it. Animate Guardian warning. Some more warnings, guys. Sorry, I gotta include this. It's very important. And I didn't want to... Imagine just you come into it and I throw... Oh, God. I had to show you all the cool shit first. And we still have some more cool shit, so stay tuned. If you're missing those 3 things on the passive skill tree, you're missing Minion Elemental or Minion Chaos Res, respectively. 10% with the Sacrifice... Another 23 elemental resistance with the Indomitable Army, and I think another 18 with Grave Intentions, and then there's like 38 chaos res in the Grave Intentions wheel. So then I wrote, therefore I highly recommend making up the difference in the gear. So if you're missing them, you have to make it up in the gear. And some people, the reason why I say you may be missing some of this is sometimes they take Indom Wheel and Sacrifice, which is 33 elemental res, no chaos res. So you're missing 2 elemental and 55 chaos. You gotta get that chaos, and you gotta get 37 elemental. It's quite a bit. I'm just saying, make up the difference if you're missing it. Very important. So I usually get 21 chaos res on the glove. This is to help you understand where you would get it, to see the big picture. 21 chaos res on the glove or higher. Usually I get higher later. Hybrid craft of chaos res on the helmet, 15%. You can get that from June Unveiling. Some chaos res on a decent rare boot if I can afford it. And crafting hybrid chaos res, 15% on the boot. Unique body armor, I can't get chaos res, but if I go rare, I can get lucky. Just like while crafting, you know, maybe some extra chaos randomly happen in my craft. Or I could craft the hybrid 15% again, which adds up. Like a few rares with some 15%, there's all your chaos res you needed, even missing the full Grave Intentions wheel, you know what I mean? It's pretty good. So many ways to get the chaos res. Minion elemental res is much easier than chaos usually, much cheaper too. So that's why we worry about making the chaos as easy as possible and prioritizing it, and then the elemental is trust me, it's way easier. Cheap. You'll always find that the chaos is like, wow, magically it costs 50C to 1x higher, and yep. PSA, public service announcement. Your Animate Guardian should have some form of sustain, be it leech or regeneration. Make sure your Animate Guardian has some regeneration, either minion percent life regen on the passive tree, or percent life regen on the Animate Guardian gear, or a jewel with regen. You could even get some leech. Leech isn't as good as regen. I like regen better. It's consistent. Leech requires them to attack. Let's say they're frozen or stunned. They're not attacking. Dead. Bonus slides. Or if there's no enemy and there's like some degen or fire or ignite or poison. Yeah. Regen better. Bonus slides. Like I promised, there's some stuff at the end. This is really crazy, dude. This one, what the heck are they thinking, man? This is crazy. I'm excited to see how hard this is. Because it honestly, on paper, sounds ridiculous. Okay, so thanks for making it to this part of the video. We have the infinitely stacking difficulty, unrelenting, timeless Valim. There's 5 of them, so that's just this one. I'm realizing now even more that this is 5 upgraded ones, and you could do a 5-way of the 5 upgraded, so they're all... So there might be more effects. This might just be Val. And they may not all be the same. So you'd have even more stacking difficulty potentially, or other things that they decided to figure out and add in the time between now and the game coming out this season. But this looks so fucking cool. I love this. So this sounds really hard. You'll need big damage, big tank, because increase max life each time they're revived. Let's say you revive them 100 times. 1,000% increase max life. 100 times. This penetrate 4% of enemy resistance for each time. 400%. That's a lot of pen. Overwhelming physical damage reduction, which is like pen. 400%. What the fuck is this? Oh my god, it's true damage. We're dead. And then they also did delve boss mods. Hard poop. We're going delving, boys. We're mining. Is this like Uber delve? Or is it bonus bosses? So what they've written here is unique boss drops 17 additional fossils. So then I wrote, is it 17 faceted? Or fractured? Probably not, but... Could you imagine? Like, what? No way. There's no way they would do that. But unique boss hits are always crits. Area contains a unique boss. Area. And then look, boss. And then, yeah, the boss drops 17 fossils. Is this Uber boss? This is so cool. I'm excited. Extra boss mods to make delve bosses more rewarding. I don't even think it's extra hard. I don't think they're Uber. I think it's just bonus bosses to make going for bosses and delving more rewarding because they're actually difficult. Nice. It's really sick, right? Either way, I hope you guys enjoyed this video. It was great. I went through the full Animate Guardian. I think that this will definitely be the meta of the 3.16 Animate Guardian. And I look forward to playing around with the Expedition's End, and again back with my garb of the Ephemeral now that they killed my nearby enemies are blinded. And we'll see what happens to the Kingmaker, and we'll prepare these alternate weapons. And yeah, I got a bunch of builds prepared. We'll see what they do with the patch, and I'm looking forward to it. Either way, thank you guys for watching. Thanks for hanging out. I'm going to take this opportunity to thank my Patreon, my YouTube members who financially support the channel. I can't do this without you guys, so thank you guys for all the support, and thank you to anyone new who joins the Patreon and the YouTube members today, and I'll see you guys in the next episode. Bye!